The people at the table had a chance to be a leader in the group.
As they reflect on their common past, there is both hope and frustration.
A lot of the changes that happened in the 60s were more sort of from the inside out, and a lot of the changes that are happening in the 90s are like from the outside, global events, things that people feel little control over.
The U.S. in the 60s was a creditor nation, and now in the 90s we're a debtor nation.
The economic recession we've been talking about is worldwide. All the industrialized nations, some of the ones in Europe, have greater unemployment than we do.
The generation that had the 60s, you know, is forcing it down the throats of everyone who wasn't there. You know, because you're all in positions of power now, and we have to hear about the 60s, and it's totally irrelevant for anybody born, you know, after about 1960.
The participants now turn to the present situation. The entire group identifies current trends in society that are impacting on Santa Cruz County. As people call out trends, the facilitators write them up, taking guidance from each contributor on the wording and location.
That's how we know all this depressing stuff is going on.
Bye-bye to the wasps.
Excessive school dropout rates.
In agriculture, from migrant workers to year-round workers, and which increases the housing need.
Decreased public funding to solve societal problems.
The increase in home-based businesses to compensate for the decrease in jobs.
The result is a large amoeba-like diagram called a mind map. It represents present trends as experienced by this group. Everybody participates, and everybody can see what their collective present looks like. The more diverse the group, the more comprehensive the map. People begin to see connections between their varied concerns.
So you begin to see all the kinds of global and national forces that have bring to bear on everybody's community.
And what one person would raise as an issue, someone would add to, and another person would add to, another person would add to.
There were a couple of things that I contributed to it that I thought everybody in the county knew about. And to listen to people talk or respond to my input was, oh, really?
When the group has exhausted all of the possible trends, they approach the map. Using colored stickers to represent their stakeholder group, they are asked to identify individually the trends that they think are most important for the future. They can quickly see the extent to which others share their concerns. The session ends for the day, setting the stage for discussing and accepting responsibility for action. In the morning, the group picks up its discussion of the mind map and the key trends. Reactions to the map cover a broad spectrum.
They make us look at things in a society that we really do not want to look at, and that's why it keeps hitting us in the face.
How amazingly hard it is for people to get along with one another.
Particularly in America, we have never had a flourishing economy that was not stimulated either by war or war production. And I think now we're being forced now to look at some alternative to how we have a flourishing economy that addresses all these issues.
It's like a snake eating its tail. The lack of jobs means poverty, means crime, means people dropping out of school, not education, and we're trying. You know, I think what we're really at a quandary about is how to treat this globally rather than trying to patch Band-Aids on it.
To begin work on this quandary, people now sit together in stakeholder groups. Stakeholder groups consist of people with the same functional relationship to the community. For example, people from funding agencies sit at one table, while people from the business community sit at another. In their new groups, they reinterpret the map, identifying the trends that matter most to them. They ask themselves what they are doing about these trends now and what they would like to do in the future. Later, in an open forum, participants deepen their dialogue. By comparing definitions, they are learning to speak with a shared frame of reference.
I like the way we've been building for consensus and being easy on each other and all this other kind of stuff. And I think that it runs the danger, though, and I don't know if it comes back together, of us all leaving here saying the same thing, meaning different things.
At last they ask, what do we mean by affordable housing?
I check into affordable housing. I can't afford it. So I'm just wondering, what is affordable housing?
To allow a person, say, in a $30,000 income range to purchase a house. And that house would be deemed affordable if it comes in under the typical price of housing in that particular area. Considered affordable as opposed to low income.
I keep hearing affordable, but I never hear low income.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody articulates the critical issues.
Important conflict here, and it's a big contradiction on all of us, is that we want to we want to think about making all these changes, we want to bring about all these beautiful things to this area. But the truth is that we want to keep this place the way it is. How are we going to get away from the idealism and the beauty of the ideology and think a little bit more of a practical matter?
Now participants turn away from external trends toward a deeper awareness of what they feel. Each stakeholder group records what they are proud of and what they are sorry for in their own efforts to improve Santa Cruz County. This activity encourages people to take responsibility rather than blame others.
We have three of our proudest prouds. Our first is that each of us takes pride in her or his individual job and in the outcomes that we see as we work in wherever it is we're working in the county, in the areas of education, law, medicine, and mental health. We're proud of our generous volunteers, and we feel that we donate hours upon hours in the areas of women and children, youth in schools, and domestic violence.
We're proud of the emphasis that some of us have had in creating community within the housing projects that have been done. Proud of the empowering of people to help each other. Proud of forming new partnerships. We're sorry that that sometimes when we think we're helping, we're creating dependence.
But if we'd just been out there on the edge a little faster, a little sooner, maybe we could have made a bigger difference.
Again, after hearing from each group, all 72 people engage in a dialogue on what they heard and what they learned.
At all the tables, there seemed to be consensus about a high level of involvement in the communities.
In the national scene, what's happening the biggest this year is healthcare. We've hardly opened our mouths about it, and I think that what that means is that with imperfections included, Santa Cruz County is doing pretty well at providing that service for everybody.
Now it's time to turn toward the future. Several groups, each a cross-section of the community, imagine Santa Cruz County in the year 2004. They describe how people are living and working, noting concrete details they believe are feasible, desirable, and personally motivating. Then, placing themselves in the future, they dramatize what life is like, using whatever forms they wish. The dramas span a wide spectrum, from a future city supervisors meeting.
Finally, very important, we've caused a housing complex to be built.
To a parody of the PBS Mr. Rogers series.
We're going for a little ride in somebody else's neighborhood. We're going to go to Santa Cruz County.
One group created an ode to Santa Cruz.
The county came into my heart today, white and black and brown and yellow.
While another issued a declaration of interdependence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all species are necessary parts of the whole mosaic of life.
Going along with this playfulness and creativity is an undercurrent of serious hopes and aspirations for the future.
Santa Cruz County's been able to create job incubation centers. As you travel down our transportation corridors, you'll see cottage industries springing up.
Anybody who wants to work can make a livable wage.
There are jobs in Santa Cruz County.
Agriculture is still our #1 industry.
Farm workers have organized themselves and have
build these cooperatives that are producing organic food.
Rather than a bedroom community, we are becoming a bed and breakfast community.